Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Electric Viking. So, just in case you haven't heard, I've been telling you all about the, likely collapse of most of the Japanese auto industry because they stubbornly refuse to accept the future and plan for the future. And they continue to fight and rail and gnash their teeth. And it's like watching a 2-year-old have a tantrum. But interestingly, there is one company in Japan which will almost certainly survive the EV transition and in fact thrive during this transition. In fact, this company has doubled in value in the last 12 months. Right now, nearly 50% of their sales go to Toyota. So one would think that this company will likely be in big trouble too. But I think they won't be because they are actually planning for an electric future. Now, what is shocking about that is the fact that this is a Japanese business. And it appears as though they don't think the same way as most other Japanese companies in the auto industry who are extremely backwards, extremely stubborn, extremely unwilling to innovate, and seemingly disinterested in what customers actually want. Whereas Denso, on the other hand, clearly is fine-tuned to what customers want. Not only you and I as customers on the sales side to the customer, but also what the actual business owner wants. Now, EV growth globally has actually propelled Denso to close in value the gap between Ford and Honda. Denso is now worth as much as Honda and Ford. So, is a car worth more than the sum of its parts? This is a question posed by Japanese auto supplier Denso's near dead heat in market cap with Honda and Ford. Denso's market cap stood at $53 billion at the time of recording this video, roughly 70% higher than a year earlier. As the world's second largest parts supplier after Germany's Bosch, Denso made a name for itself in engine components and air conditioners, an area where it holds an estimated 30% market share. But its parts for electric vehicles have emerged as a key cash generator. So, what are they doing? Actually planning for an electric future. Denso, the den in its name means electricity in Japanese, ironically enough, leads the pack in the number of patents for inverters, which are essential for EVs and for hybrids and plug-ins. They form the core of a business that is forecast to produce 1 trillion yen in annual sales for Denso by 2025. Now, Denso made 5 trillion yen in sales for the previous fiscal year ended March, putting it roughly 700 billion yen or $6.4 billion ahead of third-ranked global auto parts supplier ZF of Germany. Half of Denso's sales currently are to Toyota, which owns 24% of the company. The rest goes to a long list of automakers such as Honda and Stellantis, which own brands including Chrysler, Jeep, and Fiat. Now, last fall, Denso's market cap started closing in on Honda's, and between February and March of this year, it surpassed its rival. Denso's market value nearly doubled that of Continental of Germany and Magna International of Canada. On June 7, Denso's share price briefly hit an all-time high of 7,970 yen. Now, Toru Iwai, an analyst at Mitsubishi UFJ Morgan Stanley Securities, raised Denso's target share price to 10,000 yen last month. Compared to gasoline vehicles, sales per vehicle will be 1.5 times for hybrid and EVs. This is what he said. Now, anticipated earnings growth is fueling Denso's current share price gains. For this fiscal year, the company forecasts a record-breaking group operating profit of 413 billion yen or 2.7 times the previous result. That is a huge increase, 2.7 times last year's result. Now, that projection apparently is modest according to what analysts are actually saying the company is likely to achieve. The quick consensus survey of brokerages yields an outlook of 452.7 billion yen. So around 10% more than the company is forecasting itself. Now, a recall of fuel pumps weighed down their earnings last year, but that's faded into the background now. Meanwhile, efficiency gains in product development are expected to continue for the company. Now, besides scale, Denso boasts a relatively strong money-making efficiency. The company had by an 8.9% ratio of operating cash flow to revenue in the previous fiscal year. Now, Denso's operating cash flow to revenue exceeds ZF's 9.5%, Continental's 7.2%, South Korea's Hyundai Mobis 6.5%, and that is according to Quick Fact Sec. Now, what about the EV side of things? Well, inverters are a key driver of Denso's current earnings, a critical component in EVs, hybrids, and plug-in vehicles. Inverters need to be able to fine-tune electric currents. Based in the central Japanese city of Korea, near Toyota's hometown, Denso became a serious player in inverters in the 1990s. It now holds an estimated global market share of 35%, with a client list that includes Ford as well as many emerging Chinese automakers. And that is where Denso sees tremendous potential. Denso holds or has applied for 3,168 inverter-related patents, according to Tokyo-based intellectual property research company NGB. That is more than any other company in the world and roughly 4 times as many as Bosch. Now, Denso's inverters have gone into many hybrid models, and automakers are reportedly eager to use them in their EVs too, particularly Chinese automakers. Denso in May said it aims to increase annual sales of EV components by 80% to 1 trillion yen by fiscal year 2025 compared with fiscal 2020. In other words, Denso is actually planning for what is happening. Denso is going, well, okay, EVs are taking off. Chinese are buying EVs. People are buying EVs, not just the Chinese, Europeans. The plug-in market in Europe just hit a record of 20% in August. The same figure in China, 20%. This is an emerging market. We're going to probably hit 40% by the end of next year. What do we need to do? Invest in EV technology. Now, in addition, Denso makes sensors and cameras that are crucial to advanced driver assistance systems, another growing field. But unfortunately, gas cars still account for a substantial amount of its business, but it plans on changing that. Its challenge now is how to effectively cut down on legacy costs, parts that will become obsolete with electrification, said Seiji Sugihara, an analyst at Tokai Tokyo Research Institute. So even the Tokyo Research Institute is aware that EVs are the future, but somehow Toyota and Honda are not. Baffling. Denso has signaled the fact that they are willing to change and want to. We need to be intentional about downsizing in mature fields like engine parts and in unprofitable products, Denso Senior Executive Officer Yasushi Matsui said. But they said to assure Toyota, we will not quit irresponsibly, but we will quit. We will maintain a trust-based relationship with automakers and suppliers as we consider how to gradually exit these fields. Exit these fields. Well, the writing's on the wall. Tesla's rise vividly illustrates how EV hopes can supercharge stock market performance. The US electric car maker's market cap, now at about $625 billion, at one point surpassed the combined values of Toyota, Volkswagen, and General Motors. Now, an interesting fact I just found out. According to Adamas Intelligence, Tesla has deployed more gigawatt hours of batteries in new EVs than the next 6 closest competitors combined. They deployed more batteries in new EVs this year than the next 6 closest competitors in the world combined. So maybe there is good reason for Tesla's current valuation when you look at it that way. Now, battery systems show how industry outsiders can quickly become a force in the EV supply chain. Just 4 suppliers, China's CATL, Japan's Panasonic, and South Korean companies LG Chem and Samsung SDI, now control 75% of the battery market. Batteries represent 30 to 50% of an EV's cost. Policymakers are driving the shift to EVs. The European Union has proposed a de facto ban on sales of all new vehicles with internal combustion engines, including hybrids, by 2035 under a sweeping plan to slash greenhouse gas emissions. That's just the start. The UK has banned them in 2030. Canada has banned them in 2030. California and New York are doing similar things. EVs will be the only car on sale in Norway by 2025 and many other European countries. Right now, the consensus among analysts is that EVs will comprise 28% of new cars sold across the world in 2030, up from 4% in 2020, according to Boston Consulting Group. This is nonsense. Utter nonsense. EVs will comprise at least 99% of the global car market in 2030. And Denso, unlike other Japanese auto industry companies, is putting themselves in a position to succeed. Thanks for watching the channel. I'll see you on the next one.